Elsa was 17 years old the day before yesterday. Next year, she'll turn 20.
Yay.
How come? It's possible if the present day is January 1st, while Elsa's birthday is on the 31st of December. The day before yesterday, on December 30, she was still 17 years old. Yesterday, on the 31st of December, she turned 18. Thus, this year, Elsa turns 19 and next year 20. Elsa and her sister Helga explore an old attic in their parents' house. It's very dark and dirty. After that, they go downstairs to have some lunch. Helga's face is all covered with dust, while Elsa's face is super clean. But still, only Elsa goes to the bathroom to wash her face. Why? Elsa noticed that her sister's face was dirty, so she thought her face must be dirty too. As for Helga, she saw that Elsa's face was clean and assumed that her own face was clean too. After lunch, Elsa and Helga go for a walk across an enchanted forest. They reach the riverbank, but the bridge is closed for repairs. The sisters notice two dwarfs fishing in a boat near the bridge. They agree to help the sisters, but their boat is very tiny. It can fit either one sister or two dwarfs. Luckily, they manage to solve this issue. Elsa and Helga cross the river on the same boat. How? Well, first of all, one of the dwarfs brought his fellow on the opposite bank. Then he headed back for the sisters alone. Helga got into the boat and crossed the river. She gave the second dwarf the boat, and he returned to the opposite bank. He picked his fellow dwarf and brought him to Helga. Then one of the dwarfs swam to Elsa and passed the boat to her. She crossed the river and joined Helga, and finally, the second dwarf returned to his fellow. Helga and Elsa keep on walking and get lost in the forest. There are 3 roads to the nearest town. The first route is filled with mutant plants which feed on humans. The second path leads through an ice cave with a hungry dragon frozen inside a huge ice cube. The third route leads through a village of fairies. Their magic makes humans lose their minds. Which way is safe? Well, the dragon is trapped inside the ice cube, so it's not that dangerous. Finally, the sisters reach the town. They're walking down the main street. Suddenly, someone throws an orange right at Helga's head. Elsa identifies the apartment from which the fruit fell out and goes there to complain. She knocks, and a young man opens the door right away. Elsa explains that her sister was hit by an orange that fell from his window. But the guy says, "I was washing my dog when you knocked. Only me and my pet live here, so you confused the floors." But Elsa didn't believe him. Why? According to the man, he was bathing his only pet, but the dog's hair is dry. Therefore, his story is fake. Elsa and Helga enter the local home decor shop. Helga takes a picture of her sister standing in front of the mirror. Can you spot anything odd in this photo? Take a closer look at the mirror. Elsa's hands are reflected wrong, as well as the sale poster behind her. She must be a vampire. Just kidding. The sisters continue exploring the shop, but suddenly Elsa begins to scream and runs away. That's because one of these ladies is not alive. Can you guess who? The first woman is an ordinary human. There's a mirror behind her. The third lady has a painting of herself in the background. And the second lady, who's looking over her shoulder, is a phantom.
Oh, God.
Her reflection in the mirror doesn't match the reality. Elsa decides to hide in a building nearby. Surprise! It's a pet shop. Elsa wanders around it and spots one weird detail. Can you see it too? The turtle is wearing sunglasses. The locals tell Elsa and Helga about a creepy werewolf who has been scaring the citizens for several weeks. They only know that this werewolf is a lady and she has a husband. He's the only person who can calm her down. Elsa finds 3 suspects who might be the werewolf's husband, but none of them admits it. Can you find him? He's the second guy. There are suspicious brownish hairs on his clothes, although his own hair is blonde. The next day, Helga has a birthday party. Elsa goes to the bakery to purchase a cake for her. She's late, so she rushes over and bumps into a waiter. Elsa hits her head and forgets what cake Helga asked her to buy. She remembers just 3 things. It shouldn't have any green elements, the cake frosting shouldn't include more than 1 color, and it must have at least 1 berry. Can you help Elsa find the correct cake? Elsa should take the 4th cake. It's a chocolate cheesecake, so it doesn't have anything green. The glazing is brown and is decorated with cherries. A perfect match. Elsa buys the cake and leaves. The bakery is located inside the highest tower in town. Elsa enters the elevator to go down, but she hits the wrong button and finds herself on the roof. She decides to take some pictures with the iconic huge clock installed at the top of this tower. Oops! Elsa drops her phone from the roof. She decides to leave, but someone has already locked the door, and the elevator won't work, so she's trapped on the roof. Luckily, Elsa can still change the time of the clock. What time should Elsa set on the clock to make someone notice and rescue her? If she sets 5:05 on the clock, it'll look like an SOS signal. Finally, Elsa escapes from the tower and heads to the parking lot. Here's her car. Can you figure out the number of the place where it's parked? '87. Elsa arrives home. Helga shows her vacation photos sent by her new boyfriend, Kyle. In this case, you can see Kyle, his friend Bob, and a humanoid robot, Neo. Neo is standing next to Bob. A person wearing the yellow mask is not a man. What color is Kyle's mask? According to the terms, only the 3rd guy can be Kyle, so his mask is blue. The birthday party is going well. It's almost midnight, so Elsa goes to the kitchen and adds candles on the birthday cake. Suddenly, she remembers that the only lighter in the house is upstairs in her room. She leaves the cake at the table for a minute. Then Elsa returns and sees the cake smashed all over the floor.
Oh, no.
She questions 3 suspects. Lauren says, "I was in the living room all night. I don't know who did it." Wendy says, "I went outside to watch the full moon. It's so beautiful tonight." Kyle says, "I was shooting a TikTok dance with Helga." Who ruined the cake? Wendy. Take a look out the window. The moon is not full. Busted. The next morning, Helga wakes up earlier than Elsa and checks her feed. Breaking news: a legendary thief ran away from a nearby prison and now creeps around the town. He's a talented shapeshifter, so no one knows for sure what he might look like. Suddenly, Helga hears someone ringing on the door. She opens and faces 2 guys who introduce themselves. Bob is a gardener from a nearby park, and Peter is a garbage man. Both guys want to use a bathroom, so they ask Helga to let them in. But only one of them is safe to invite over. Can you guess who? Bob is wearing clothes with red stains, but he's also holding a brush, so he was probably just painting a fence. Let's take a closer look at Peter's facial hair. One mustache has come unglued. It's fake. So he must be the runaway criminal from the news.
You just entered a riddle solving competition. The game show host shows you the first riddle you have to answer. Take a look at the image. Who do you think will be able to make it all the way across the line? Let's face it, it's the man on the left. Even though it looks like he's having a hard time carrying such heavy things, the weight is evenly distributed between his two hands, so he'll probably make it through without any problem. For your next challenge, the game show host shows you a picture of sinking boats. Which boat do you think will sink first? The first boat has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water inside. The second boat only has 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that got inside. It's definitely the second boat that's going to sink first. Since you passed the first 2 rounds, the third one gets a bit harder. Ken was riding on his rollerblades when he fell down and hurt his head. He woke up in the hospital only to find that 3 Barbies were waiting for him. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which Barbie is actually Ken's girlfriend? This is a tricky one. It can't be the third Barbie, because the real Barbie would never wink at Ken. It's usually him that does the flirty things. It's also not the second Barbie, because she would never put makeup in front of him. So this leaves us the first Barbie, who must be his girlfriend. The Fin is a famous hostel in Spain. It's especially famous for its fun showers. But hey, something doesn't look right in this image. Take a look and try to guess what it is. The woman on the right is squeezing a ketchup bottle instead of a shampoo bottle. That's definitely weird, huh? For the final rounds, the host picked out a few written riddles for you. The first one is, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. Am I a microphone, a phone, or an echo? What would you say? The answer is an echo. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I? A tree, fire, or clouds? The correct answer is fire. Way to go if you chose that. Matthew works in the same company as Jean. He's had a crush on her for months and has been trying to impress her in any way he can think of. That's why he decided to take part in the Brain Challenge, a contest his company organizes once a year. By saying yes, he had to answer a bunch of expert-level questions and solve some pretty difficult riddles. For the first round, he had to crack a rebus puzzle. Take a look at the piece of paper they gave him. Can you guess the answer? The answer was invisible string. Nice! For the next round, they took Matthew to a room full of random stuff. His task was to find a specific object. As a clue, they gave him a piece of paper that said, "What goes up when the rain goes down?" Look around and help him find the object. It was that red and blue umbrella over there. For the final round, Matthew had to solve an AI riddle. If he answered it correctly, he would win the contest's main prize and probably Jean's heart. The riddle said, I have 1,000 needles, but I do not sew. What am I? Can you guess what he answered? The correct answer is a porcupine. Alfred is a supermodel, and he just landed his dream job. The biggest magazine in the country invited him to be on the cover of their latest issue. On the day of the photo shoot, he arrived early in the studio. After finishing with hair and makeup, he looked in the mirror and screamed, "Oh no!" His skin was all red. It looked like he was having some serious allergic rash. He called all the assistants he had seen earlier that day to interrogate them. Amy, the photographer's assistant, said she had been told Alfred was allergic to peanuts, so she made sure to only buy safe snacks. Bo, the makeup artist, said he hadn't touched Alfred's food. He said that right after he had finished his job, he left for a coffee break. Mary, the cleaning lady, said that she knew how sensitive models could be, so that's why she only used organic and hypoallergenic products to clean his dressing room. Alfred immediately knew who had contributed to his rash. Can you figure it out too? It was definitely Bo. Sure, he didn't have access to Alfred's food, but he was the only one who touched Alfred's face that day. Liv was recording a dance routine for her social media page when a huge portal opened up and swallowed her whole. The next thing she knew, she was stuck inside a big cavern. Out of the blue, a great genie appeared. He told her that she would only be allowed to leave if she figured a way out by herself. As soon as he disappeared, she saw that there were 3 buttons on the wall. There was a red, a yellow, and a green button. On the floor, there was a note that read, TDUPT RNOREHEBSST. She clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a hidden door on the wall. Can you guess which button she chose? The red button. She unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." As soon as she pressed the button, Liv was transported into a virtual reality world. An artificial intelligence greeted her and showed her 3 doors. The AI told her that there was only one door that would lead her to freedom. It told her that behind the first door, there were hungry Pac-Men waiting for someone to walk inside. Behind the second door, there were cursed rollerblades. Once you put them on, you would never be able to take them off. Plus, they had a will of their own and ended up taking you to some pretty dark places. Behind the last door, there were flying fuzzy creatures with laser eyes that burn anything they came into contact with. Which door do you think Liv should choose to escape? Well, she should pick the second door because she wouldn't be obligated to put on the pair of rollerblades. She could walk past them and straight to her freedom. During the time she was gone, Liv noticed that someone had stolen her laptop. It had all of her social media content in it. She figured it must have been one of her roommates, so she decided to take a look around the house to try to find it. Take a look at these images. The first room belongs to Jill. The second one belongs to Rachel, and the third one belongs to Amy. Can you figure out who stole Liv's laptop? If you look closely, Rachel's cat is sleeping on top of something that really looks like a laptop. It must have been her. On a hot summer day, Marjorie decided to go to the public swimming pool. As soon as she arrived there, she ran into 3 close friends, Sarah, Raven, and Donna. One of these women just gave birth to triplets. Can you guess who? It was Donna. If you look closely at her wrist, she's wearing 3 DIY bracelets with the word Mom written on them. Sam was backpacking through Latin America when he stopped at a restaurant to get some lunch. When he walked inside, he immediately spotted something weird. One of the customers is definitely not human. Can you guess who? It's the guy on the counter. Look, he's charging his hand on the counter socket. He must be a robot or something. Matt buys a new house. In the basement, he discovers 3 signed boxes and a note. It says that one of the boxes contains $1 million. The 2 other boxes are empty, according to the note. Only one of the 3 messages written on the boxes is true. On the first box, it said that the cash is not there. The second box has a similar message: the cash is not here. And the third box says that the cash is in the second box. If you were Matt, which bag would you choose? Matt should choose the first bag, as we know only one of the clues is true. So the money should be in the first bag. Matt walks out of his house and goes to the garden. He pulls out his right hand. Suddenly, a bee lands on it. What's in Matt's eye? Beauty. Why? Because beauty is in the eye of the bee holder. In the garden, Matt takes 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Matt returns home and figures out that someone has broken into his house, and the thief has just left. How did Matt figure this out? Someone turned on his electric stove and put a plastic bag on top. The plastic is only half melted, so the thief must have left a few seconds ago. Matt goes to his favorite vegan restaurant as usual on Fridays. He orders a slice of pizza, puts it on a table, and leaves for a couple of minutes to wash his hands. Then Matt comes back and finds out that his pizza is gone. He interrogates 3 customers nearby. Harold says, "I'm not hungry, so I didn't even look at your food. I came here for the sake of coffee." Bella says, "I was having a video call with my boyfriend. He lives in another country, so we go on virtual dates every Sunday. Distance is so exhausting." And Anna says, "I was taking pictures of my food, so I didn't look around. You can check them out if you don't believe me." After hearing about what they had to say, Matt knows for sure who's a liar. What about you? According to Bella, she goes on virtual dates every Sunday. But it's Friday. Liar! Matt's girlfriend Erica is visiting him in his lab. Suddenly, she faces 2 identical Matts. Can you help her figure out who's a clone? The guy on the right has a scar on his arm. Meanwhile, the clone doesn't have any because his skin is brand new. Matt goes to the mall and buys a bat and a ball for $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Nope, the correct answer is not 10 cents. It's actually a little less. A ball costs 5 cents and the bat $1.05. And together they total $1.10. Someone robbed Matt's lab. The thief stole the cloning device and he's going to hand it over tonight. This is a great opportunity to catch the criminal. The police figure out the approximate place where to look for the device. They decide to question several people nearby. Greg says, "The garbage truck has just emptied the overhead trash cans." Jeff says,
"I'm in charge of these trash cans. I checked all the cans next to the yellow ones and found nothing interesting."
And Bill just points at all the trash cans that someone approached today. Can you help the police find the trash can with the stolen device? First of all, we need to calculate the top cans. And now let's check all the remaining trash cans which people were approaching. The next step is to remove those next to the yellow ones. And here it is, the trash can we've been looking for. After the robbery, Matt decides to lock his lab door with a password. There are 4 buttons with different images: orange, banana, apple, and tomato. Can you guess which button opens the door? The odd one out is the tomato because all the others are fruits, so it should open the door. A priceless crystal disappeared from the local science museum. The thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Matt invites 3 suspects for an interrogation. The security guard says, "I only left my post once during lunchtime. I can swear that the crystal was still there when I came back." The museum curator says, "I spent the day guiding a tour of foreign scientists. They came to see the crystal at the beginning of the tour. It was still shining bright in its place." One of the visitors says, "I only popped in for a quick visit. I didn't even pass through the room where the crystal was kept." After hearing their stories, Matt knows for sure who the thief is. What about you? It was the visitor. He hid the crystal in his sleeve. Matt's brother Greg arrives at his house to eat together. He yells, "Matt, the microwave is on, and it's already defrosting our dinner!" Greg hears Matt's reply from the bathroom. "Could you please check the microwave and let me know how much time is left?" Greg grabs his phone and calls the police. He reports a dangerous situation involving his brother. How did he know? Greg is blind, so his brother would have asked him to look at the microwave because Matt knows that Greg can't see. This made Greg suspicious, and that's why he called the police. The next day, Matt wakes up in a secret abandoned lab. He wanders around and finds 3 doors leading to freedom, but each door is hiding an unpleasant surprise. Here's a creepy monster sitting in a cage behind the first door. It's very hungry and angry. There's a bunch of venomous snakes crawling behind the second door, and the lights are off, so Matt won't be able to see them. And behind the door, there's a huge fire. Which way is more or less safe? He should choose the first door. The monster is in a cage, so Matt can just pass by and escape. Matt manages to escape and enters the nearest gas station. He spots 3 odd things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The poster with the engine oil advertisement offers a 0% discount. The cashier has an octopus tentacle instead of hands. See this package of chips? It says they have the flavor of spiders. That's weird. The cashier agrees to help Matt get home if he manages to solve his riddle.
I came first on Earth, but second in heaven. I also come twice a week, but I'm found just once a year. I stay away for months, but you can find me in February. What am I?
The correct answer is the letter E. Matt returns home and finds out that someone has left homemade cookies on the kitchen table. He examines all the doors and windows. He finds no signs of a break-in. Matt decides to question 3 suspects who have a key. His mother says, "I spent all day with my yoga teacher, and my class ended 10 minutes ago, so I didn't have time for cookies." The plumber says, "I fixed the kitchen sink in the morning and left for home. Why would I bring you any gifts?" And Matt's girlfriend Erica says, I visited your house a couple of hours ago to drop off some shopping bags and left for the gym. I didn't see any cookies. Who's lying? The plumber. Take a closer look at the kitchen sink. It has no tap. Therefore, he lied. Matt is walking in the local restaurant and gets lost in a maze. He has only 15 seconds to get out before it starts raining. Can you help him find the right direction? Ready to see the answer? Here's the correct route. Hey, here's another opportunity to train your brain and sharpen your logical thinking skills. Don't miss out on it.
Yeah.
Liam was a doctor from Chicago. Once, he asked his boss to let him attend a medical conference in Berlin. The boss let Liam go but asked him to send a photo report as soon as he got to Europe. The next day, the boss received a message from Liam that said, "Hello from Germany, that's me right now." A photo was attached to the message. After looking at it, the boss realized Liam had lied to him. How did he figure it out? In the photo, there's a clock on the wall that shows exactly the same time as the clock in the boss's office. If Liam was in Germany, the clock would show a different time because of the time difference. A bit of math for you. Can you figure out what comes next in this sequence of numbers? It's gonna be this long number. You see, each next number is a verbal representation of the number before it. This way, if we start with 1, the next number in the sequence will be 1, 1. And the next one is 2 ones. And then we've got 1, 2, 1, 1, and so on. Look at this picture attentively. The guy has sent a message to his girlfriend. He seems to be missing her very much, but is it true? Can you figure out if he might be cheating on her? Yes, unfortunately he is. Look at this napkin. There's a lipstick print on it. He must be with another girl. Once, a man came to a police station. He said he'd been robbed on his way to the bank. He was carrying a briefcase with a big sum of money when a man wearing a black mask and gloves attacked him. The robber snatched the briefcase and ran away. The police officer listened to the man and asked him about a fresh cut on his right cheek. The man replied that it was from a ring the criminal had been wearing. After these words, the policeman immediately knew the man was lying. How did he realize it? Are you as attentive as the police officer to figure it out? The man couldn't know about the ring on the robber's finger, since he claimed that the criminal had been wearing gloves. Turn me on my side, and I'm everything. Cut me in half, and I'm nothing. What am I? I'm the number 8. On my side, I look like an infinity symbol. And cut in half, I'm just 2 zeros. Look at these people very attentively. Your task is to find out which girl the man is interested in. Remember that the answer here lies in the details. And this puzzle can tell us how good you are at reading people. Our body language can tell other people a lot about us. The way you sit, stand, and even move your arms can give away what you're thinking about or how you feel. The girls in the picture have different postures and facial expressions. And once we look closely, we will understand that the man is clearly interested in the girl who is most interested in him. But which one is it? The second one from the left. Her feet are pointed towards the man, and we can say the same about his feet. While girls number 1 and 3 are looking at the man too. They aren't into him all that much. Their feet and body language give it away. A wealthy old man didn't have a will, so he ordered his sons to race their horses, and the one whose horse would be slower would receive his inheritance. The two sons realized that they would be unable to race since they would be both holding their horses back. So they went to a wise man and asked him what they should do. After listening to his advice, the brothers started racing at full speed. What did the wise man tell them? He recommended switching horses. Now, whoever wins the race will get the inheritance because they will technically own the losing, slower horse. 4 people came to a river with a narrow bridge that could only hold 2 people at a time. It was nighttime, and they had just one torch that had to be used when crossing the bridge. Person A needed 1 minute to cross the bridge, and person B could do it in 2 minutes. It took person C 5 minutes to get to the other side, and person D needed 8 minutes. If 2 people were crossing the bridge together, they had to move at the slower person's pace. Can all these people get across the bridge within 15 minutes or less? Yes, they can. Let's see how it can be done. First, person A and person B cross the bridge, and then person A brings the light back. It takes 3 minutes. Next, person C and person D cross the bridge, and person B brings the light back afterward. It takes another 10 minutes. And finally, person A and person B cross the bridge again. This takes another 2 minutes. In total, we've got 15 minutes. Recently, Mark had been feeling some discomfort in his knees, so he decided to go to the doctor. After examining the man, the specialist gave him a piece of paper, saying, "Here's the solution," and then he left the room. What was written in the note? What did the doctor mean? The treatment is a painless operation. The missing letters spell out pain. Thus, Mark should have a painless operation. Thomas was talking with his colleague, and she asked him how many kids he had. He answered that he had 3 children, and she asked him about their ages. Thomas replied, "The product of their ages is 72, and the sum of their ages is the same as my house number." His colleague was confused. The next time she was invited to Thomas's house, she paid attention to his house number, and still, she couldn't figure out the kids' ages. Tom decided to help her. "Oh, that's right, I forgot to tell you the oldest one likes chocolate pudding." And after that, his colleague figured out the ages of the 3 children. Have you understood how old they are? The kids are 3, 3, and 8. The key to this riddle is the colleague knows the sum of the children's ages, but she still can't tell how old Thomas's children are because she is stuck between several possibilities. To narrow it down further, only 2 sets of numbers that multiply to 72 share the same sum. And that's when the man reveals that his oldest child likes chocolate pudding. Only the latter of these 2 sets has a distinct oldest child. Imagine that you're in a dark room. There's a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp there. You only have 1 match. What do you light first? First of all, you'll need to light the match. These 5 bags of gold all look identical. Each of them has 10 gold pieces in it, but one of the bags contains fake gold. The real gold and fake gold are identical in every way, except the weight. Each piece of fake gold weighs 1.1 ounce, while a piece of real gold weighs 1 ounce. You have a perfectly accurate digital scale, but you can use it only once. How can you determine which bag has the fake gold? You should take 1 gold piece from the first bag, 2 from the second bag, 3 from the third bag, 4 from the fourth bag, and 5 from the fifth bag. If the number on the scale ends in 0.1, you'll know the first bag contains the fake gold. If the number ends in 0.2, then the fake gold is in the second bag, and so on.
Mensa is a society for people with high IQs. Let's solve some challenging puzzles and test your IQ. We are at a birthday party and playing a fun game called musical seating. Guess whose birthday it is? 6 cozy sofas numbered from 1 through 6, and we have 6 guests. The seats are placed in a circle. Hit it, DJ! People start to circle around the sofas. When the music stops, everyone quickly sits down on the sofas. They make sure each sofa has just 1 guest. No squeezing next to a friend. As they settle in, everyone faces the center and the lucky person celebrating their birthday. Now here's how the circle of seating looks. 1, meet Mike, who's not the birthday celebrant. He's seated right next to Susie. But don't expect Susie to be gazing at the birthday person. She's not seated directly across from them. 2. Julia, on the other hand, makes sure she's not cozying up next to Yuri. 3. Nat is a pro gamer and gets seated first. 4. Victor is 2 seats to the right of Julia. 5. Yuri, meanwhile, makes sure he's at least a couple of seats away from the birthday person. The million-dollar question is, whose special day are we celebrating today? It's Julia's birthday. So, from our clues, we know that Mike sits next to Susie, Victor is 2 seats to the right of Julia, and Yuri isn't too close to the birthday person. So, looking at the circle clockwise, we have Mike, Susie, Victor, another sofa, Julia, and another sofa. Now, considering the second clue, our arrangement is narrowed down to Mike, Susie, Yuri, Victor, Nat, and Julia. Finally, using clue 5 to spot the birthday person, we're left with Julia, Mike, or Nat. But rule number 1 eliminates Mike and Nat, leaving us with Julia sitting on sofa 1, Mike occupying sofa number 2, Susie sitting on sofa number 3, Yuri on the 4th sofa, Victor on sofa number 5, and Nat occupying sofa number 6. So, happy birthday, Julia. Let's move on. A police chase puzzle. Only true detectives can solve this one. We're in a sprawling city whose streets form an infinite grid, crisscrossing in every direction. What's important for us is the main street. It boasts police officers stationed at every 100 blocks. A thief is now lurking in the city's shadows, and our mission is to guarantee they'll run right into the arms of the law forces. There's an important thing to consider. The thief has nimble feet and can dash faster than any officer, but the officers can see infinitely far. Think of these as their superpowers. Oh, and both the police and the thief are in the street at all times. Think about your strategy. We will start by dispatching officers to patrol the streets, running perpendicular to the main street. This strategic move will allow them to keep an eye on all the streets that run parallel to the main street. With this 2-pronged approach, we've got every corner of the city covered. and there's nowhere for our wily robber to hide. Now let's establish some basic terminology. We'll call the streets that run parallel to the main street as avenues, and the ones that run perpendicular as streets. We'll number the streets from negative infinity to positive infinity, creating a neatly organized cityscape. Our operation starts with officers stationed on the main street at streets 0, positive 100, negative 100, positive 200, negative 200, and so forth. To crack this case, we're rolling out a two-part plan. Step 1. As soon as the chase begins, the officers stationed on the odd hundreds will set off towards street 0. Meanwhile, the officers on the even hundreds will hold their ground. This maneuver ensures that our slippery suspect is confined to a city district that's only 200 blocks wide. Anytime they cross a street that's a multiple of 200, they'll be squarely in the view of an officer stationed at the intersection of that street and the main street. Step 2 starts when the officers from the odd hundreds cease their promenade along the main street once they reach street plus /1, street plus /2 plus /3, and so forth. At this point, they'll take a right turn and continue their vigilant patrol. The officers from the positive numbered streets will march in one direction, while their counterparts from the negative numbered streets will proceed in the opposite direction. As each officer traverses their respective street, they'll cast their watchful gaze down every avenue they come across. With an infinite number of officers at our disposal, we can be certain that eventually, officers will patrol every street from street plus /1, plus /2, plus /3, and so on up to some finite value. Let's call it n. In simpler terms, we're going to make sure that all the streets within the 200-block vicinity of our lawbreaker will have officers patrolling them. If our thief wants to remain at large, their only option is to hide on one of the avenues. But sooner or later, as our officers venture away from the main street, scrutinizing every avenue they pass, the cat-and-mouse game will be over. Mission accomplished. 3 switches are in charge of lighting up 3 bulbs in a special way. Each switch operates just one bulb, and each bulb is under the spell of just one switch. However, there's a twist, as only one of the following claims is true. Switch #1 declares, "I'm the controller of bulb B." Switch #2 states, "I'm the boss of either bulb A or C." And switch #3 claims, "I've got my grip on either bulb A or B." So can you figure out the perfect match between the switches and the bulbs? If you said switch #1 goes with C, switch #2 gets on with B, and switch #3 pairs up with A, then you solved the puzzle. The key is that only the last statement is true. If the first statement was true, then the other 2 would have to be false. This would create a problem because switch #1 would have to control both B and C. If the second statement told us the truth, switch #2 would control A or C, leaving bulb B in the dark. This isn't allowed. Lastly, if the third statement was true, then switch #3 would control A or B, making switch #1 control A or C, and switch #2 control B. This arrangement works. Voila. The first 2 statements are not true. The next puzzle is a morning dilemma. This one is from the Department of Physics of Oxford University. So you're running late for work, but also craving a caffeine kick. You pour yourself a steaming cup of black coffee, but it's hot to handle. How can your cuppa cool down more effectively? You have 2 options. You can go all in, adding milk right away, and then patiently twiddle your thumbs for a few minutes before taking a sip. Or you can play it cool, letting your coffee sit for a few minutes and then swoop in with the milk just before that first sip. The winning ticket is the second option. Here's why. Your coffee starts off hotter than in option 1 when you introduce the milk. The thing is, hotter things have a knack for cooling down faster, thanks to a bigger temperature gap with their surroundings. So, in option 2, your coffee is racing against time, cooling down at a quicker pace. Interestingly, both options result in the same amount of time needed to cool the drink down, but at different rates. Since nearly all these puzzles are from Mensa, let's define this global brainy community. It boasts over 150,000 members from all walks of life, spanning more than 90 countries around the globe. But what exactly do they do? Imagine a bustling place where members dive into the intellectual deep end through captivating lectures, enlightening journals, and special interest groups.
Molly, Holly, and Sally are going to the prom in a fancy limousine, but the car breaks down on the way. The party hall is nearby, so the ladies decide to walk. Suddenly, it starts to rain. Luckily, all three ladies have umbrellas, but still, one of them gets wet. Can you guess who? Holly. Her skirt is wider than the diameter of her umbrella. Finally, the ladies arrive at the prom. All of their friends look very elegant and fancy. Leah is wearing very expensive designer shoes. Bella carries a Chanel bag. Alice is taking selfies with the latest smartphone. And Kim is showing off a sparkling diamond necklace. But in fact, only one of them is wealthy. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at the logo. Bella's Chanel bag is fake. Leah's shoes are way bigger than her feet, so she probably borrowed them from someone else. As for Alice, the smartphone in her hand is not hers. It has Kim's name on it, so Kim is the richest person here. Kim goes to the dance floor. Bobby, Billy, and Kenny invite her to dance, but one of these guys was bitten by a vampire, so he's not safe to dance with. Can you guess who? Bobby has a red mark on his shirt, but it's just lipstick. Billy's drinking something red, but it's just a cherry punch. Meanwhile, Kenny doesn't have any shadow, so he's a vampire. Kim goes to the ladies' room, but all three stalls are occupied. There's a robot inside one of them. Can you guess where? Let's take a look at the first lady's feet. Ouch! She's rubbed multiple corns with her fancy sandals. She can't be a robot. As for the third lady, her pedicure is too messy for a robot. Therefore, the robot is in the second stall. Bella asks Kim to take her picture. Kim takes a couple of shots. Can you find 3 differences between them? Here they are. Kim goes back to the party and spots a runaway criminal among the guests. Can you see this person too? It's the show host. He's hiding a prison robe under his suit. At the party, Bella gets bitten by a vampire too. Kim takes her to the hospital. They meet 2 doctors in the lobby. One of them is an imposter. Can you guess who? Real doctors wear gloves, and the woman on the right doesn't wear any. Bella gets into a hospital ward with 3 other people. One of them is not sick. Can you guess who? The woman on the left looks perfectly healthy. She has her lipstick on and a glamorous hairstyle. Although her arm is broken, it doesn't mean that she's sick. Kim comes home from a long day. She's very excited to treat herself with a bubble bath. She's been dreaming about it all day. But someone used up all her bubble foam. Kim interrogates her family members. Father says, "I spent all day at the garage repairing my old car, and I haven't visited the bathroom yet." Mother says, "I was feeling sick all day, so I didn't pay any attention to your beauty products." And Kim's brother says, "It wasn't me who took your bubble foam, but I think it was Mom." Who did it? Take a closer look at Dad's beard. There's pieces of foam on it. Busted! The next night, Kim goes to a sleepover with her friends. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? This guy is a werewolf. Take a look at his claws.
Oh no.
Kim puts some cash in a stash in her room and leaves for Granny's house. In a couple of days, Kim returns and realizes that someone had stolen her money. How did she guess? Kim's stash was in this book. It was on the shelf when she left, and now the book is gone.
Oh God.
Kim runs to the living room and yells at her family. Who stole my book? Everyone swears to have nothing to do with the robbery, but Kim spots the thief right away. What about you? It's the brother. He used the book as a stand for his PlayStation. Kim is watching a TV program about risky sports.
Oh.
Can you help her guess which guy has a better chance of survival?
Oh God.
The one who's falling into the snow has a higher chance to survive. Hitting the water can be tough, and he still needs to get out of the ocean. Kim's dad wants to buy a boat. His agent arranges a meeting with 3 people. Each tells a brief story about their boats. Karen says, "My husband gave me this boat 5 years ago as a wedding gift. That's why it has my name. But now I want to sell it because we don't use it." Charles says, "I inherited this boat from my father. It works very well, but I don't need it because I'm moving abroad." And Liam says, "I built this boat on my own, but now I'm building a bigger one, so I'd like to sell it to get some cash." One of the sellers is lying. Can you spot who? Take a closer look at the first boat. Its name is Karma, not Karen. Therefore, she's a liar.
Oh.
Kim goes to the nearby hardware store to buy something for her home. Kim asks, "How much for the one?" The shopkeeper replies, "It's $2. Then Kim asks, "How much for 11?" The shopkeeper replies, "It's $4. And finally, Kim asks, "How much for 100?" And the shopkeeper replies, $6. What is Kim buying? She's buying a house number. Each digit costs $2. Kim's cat, Fluffy, ran away. She's been looking for him in a forest all evening. Finally, she gets tired and heads home. But suddenly, she sees a witch's house on the way. Kim enters and faces the witch. Fluffy is sitting on her lap. The witch says,
I'll release your cat if you crack my riddle. I have 2 besties who are identical twins. Emma was born in 2003 and Gemma in 2004.
"How is it possible?" They're twins, but they were born on New Year's Eve. Emma was born right before midnight and Gemma right after midnight. The next day, Kim meets a handsome guy who likes puzzles. She asks his name, but instead of answering directly, the guy writes a date on a piece of paper. Can you help Kim figure out his name? Each number implies a particular letter of the alphabet. The guy's name is Theo. Theo invites Kim to an art exhibition. Take a look at these squares. Which one is bigger, yellow or green? All these black and white squares usually confuse perception, but it becomes obvious that the green square is larger than the yellow one if we put them away. Kim asks Theo, "What month were you born?" He replies with 4 emojis. Can you guess the month? Jack-o'-lantern stands for J. The next emoji implies U. Nut stands for N. And eggplant stands for E. Theo was born in June. Kim and Theo go for a walk in an abandoned village. They see a sign leading to a famous haunted castle. There are 4 possible routes, but only one of them will actually lead them to the castle. Can you figure out the correct way? It's way easier to untangle this maze if you start drawing from the final destination. They should take Route B. Finally, Kim and Theo find the castle. They enter the property and see a fancy living room. There are 6 zombies hiding in the living room. Can you spot them? Hello! The guys run away from the zombies and hide in the basement. They wander around and see 3 doors. Suddenly, the basement begins to get filled with water. Kim and Theo have to choose a door quickly to escape. But each door has a surprise. There's a tank with a family of sharks behind the first door. There's a deep hole with sharp venomous corals behind the second door. And there's a tank with piranhas behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? The second door. The basement is full of water, so they can swim over the corals. Indiana Jones was on a mission to find a golden statue in the Peruvian Amazon. He had been searching the jungle for over 3 days when he found the entrance to a cave. He followed down very long corridors, escaped a few traps, and finally arrived at a room filled with gold. He could see the golden statue and made a run for it. But uh-oh, there was a trap door on the floor. Indiana Jones fell into a dungeon that had nothing except for an empty bucket and 3 doors. The first door would lead him to a hungry mama bear and her cub. The second door would lead him to a 6-foot wall of fire. The last door would lead him to a lake filled with crocodiles. Which door should Indiana Jones use to escape? Let's see. He should definitely pick the second door. If he tried the first door, the mama bear would probably attack him, trying to protect her cub. And swimming in a lake with crocodiles is never a good idea. The best option would be to fill the bucket with lake water to fight off the wall of fire. It would take some work, but it's Indiana Jones. He can do anything. Back in England, Indiana Jones is resting in his office when another professor anxiously approaches him. The professor says Jones needs to exit the building as fast as he can because some bad guys are looking for him. The professor gives him a map of the building and says he has to enter every single room on the way out, but he can't let the students in the classrooms see him more than once. Take a look at the map the professor gave him. How can Indiana Jones follow the instructions precisely and get away safely? Let's see how this works. There are 2 important things to note here. First, his own office counts as room number 1 in the building. We know he has to exit in room 16. The first guess might be to follow a line from left to right, moving from room 1 to 2, 3, 4, and so on. But if he chose this path, he wouldn't go through rooms 13, 14, and 15. Alternatively, he could exit room 1 to room 2, then go back to room 1. Since he's the only person inside his office, this doesn't break any of the rules. Then, he could follow the path down to rooms 5, 9, and 13, and zigzag all the way to the exit in room 16. This way, he wouldn't let anyone see him more than once. Way to go, Indy! Barbara entered a coffee shop excited to drink her daily cappuccino. But when she went to pay, she realized she had forgotten her wallet. The barista, instead of getting mad, suggested another way out. If Barbara could win his game, he would give her the cappuccino for free. Barbara agreed.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you 3 facts about myself, and you have to figure out which one is false,
the barista said. Here are the facts.
I have 7 brothers. I hate Nirvana. I'm actually an artist.
Can you help Barbara out? Which fact do you think is false? It's the second one. For starters, the barista is wearing a Nirvana t-shirt, and his phone's lock screen is a picture of the band. He definitely likes Nirvana. Hannah ran into 3 random women in the parking lot. She immediately noticed something was off and spotted that one of the ladies was actually a vampire. Take a look at the image. Can you guess who the vampire is? It's the third woman on the right. If you look closely, her teeth are pretty pointy. Plus, I'm almost sure that the red stain on her shirt isn't red paint, if you know what I mean. Susie was alone in her research lab, trying to build a time machine. She connected a red string here and a blue one right there. And boom! A time-bending portal opened up. She wasn't so sure where it would take her, but she decided to go through it anyway. Once she passed through the portal, she arrived in an empty field where she found a talking bear. She asked him where she was and what year they were in. But the bear said he would only answer her question if she got his riddle correct. The riddle went like this. I turn polar bears white, and I will make you cry. I make celebrities look stupid, and normal people look like celebrities. I turn pancakes brown. If you squeeze me, I'll pop. If you look at me, you'll pop. What am I? It took her a while, but Susie got it right. Do you have any idea what she answered? She said time. Mia was a student at the Witches Academy. She was specializing in ghost activity to protect humans from these spooky creatures. For one of her finals, she had to find a ghost inside the haunted barn just outside the school. The barn had a room filled with mirrors, and once she went inside, her internal ghost sensor started to give strong signs there was a ghost in the room. Take a look at the mirrors. They all reflect Mia's image, but the ghost is hiding inside one. Can you tell which one? Take a look at the third mirror. Mia is wearing her smartwatch, but her reflection in the mirror isn't. This must be the ghost pretending to be her. Way to go, Mia, for busting yet another ghost. Belly was a straight-A student, and for a school assignment, she had to come up with a riddle so difficult, almost nobody would be able to solve it. She spent a week developing it, and on Monday, she shared it with her peers. She gathered 100 students and gave them a number between 1 and 100. Each student was instructed to go inside a classroom that had exactly 100 boxes, randomly numbered between 1 and 100. Inside each box, there was a slip of paper, also containing a random number between 1 and 100. The students needed to enter the classroom on their own and find the box that contained the slip of paper with their own number on it. But to do so, students were only allowed to open a maximum of 50 boxes. They were instructed to leave the room exactly as they found it, and they weren't allowed to communicate with any other student once they left the room. If all of the students were able to find their number on the slips of paper inside the boxes, they would each win a $100 prize. But if even one of them wasn't able to find their number, then none of them would win the prize. Can you figure out what's the best strategy for all of the students to find their numbers and win the prize? Belly's riddle sure isn't obvious, but let's check out how it could work. If each student searched for their numbers randomly, they would each have a 50% chance of finding the box with their number inside. This is so because there were 100 boxes and they were allowed to look inside 50 of them. However, the probability of all of them finding their own number following this random strategy is absurdly small. So, to increase their chances of collectively finding their numbers, they would need a better strategy. The students could use something called the loop strategy. Once entering the classroom, they should go directly towards the box that had their number on top of it. The number inside probably wouldn't be their number, but that's okay. They should check the number inside of the box and go look for the box with that same number on top of it. And so on and so forth. They should keep doing this until they find the slip with their number on it. This strategy guarantees that 31% of the time, all students will be able to find their number and win the prize. It's not a huge probability, but hey, blame it on Belly.
A mysterious, daring thief committed a series of bank robberies in the city. The criminal is acting with a unique style. He leaves enigmatic pictures with two symbols at each crime scene. Detectives are confused. But thankfully, a police dog helps them track traces and leads them to an old house in a creepy neighborhood. The detectives find 3 suspects, but each of them has a strong alibi. Mr. Wildrose says, "I was busy celebrating my birthday with friends." Mr. Snowberry says, "I was visiting a nighttime art exhibition, but unfortunately it wasn't allowed to take pictures inside." And Mr. Greenman says, "I had to stay home because I was sick. My mother was taking care of me, so she can verify my words." Can you spot the thief? Do you remember the picture of the crime scene? It shows a snowflake and a berry. This hint points to Mr. Snowberry. The detectives arrest Mr. Snowberry, but he finds a way to escape from his cell. The policemen are chasing him around a 2-story jail building. Mr. Snowberry hides on the roof and decides to jump off it. Can you guess why he decided to jump instead of climbing this tree? If he climbs the tree, he'll disturb these birds. They'll fly away and the police will notice him. Mr. Snowberry jumps and blacks out. After a while, he wakes up and finds himself locked in a small room. Mr. Snowberry looks around and finds a door. He tries to open it, but it's locked. He notices 3 buttons on the door. There's a circle on the first button, a triangle on the second one, and a square on the third button. He doesn't know which one he should press to unlock the door. Luckily, he finds a note with 3 numbers, 12, 4, and 8. Can you guess which button he should choose? There's a clock right above the door, and it's here for a reason. If we draw lines connecting 12, 4, and 8, we'll get a triangle. So he should press the triangle button. Mr. Snowberry manages to escape. He's starving and makes a stop at a restaurant. The waiter brings 2 trays of food. There are 3 differences between these meals. Can you spot them? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are.
Yes!
The policemen spot Mr. Snowberry at the restaurant. They begin to chase the criminal, and he hides in this street. Can you help them find Mr. Snowberry? He's over here. Finally, Mr. Snowberry ends up in jail. But the city is shocked by another crime that happened in a historical museum. Someone stole an ancient emerald statue during an exhibition. This artifact is expensive and very rare. So the detective starts his investigation immediately. He finds 3 suspects who were standing close to the crime scene. But each of them denies any involvement in the theft. Jeff says, I was recently released from prison. I'd like to recover my reputation, so I avoid any trouble with the law. Peter, who claims to be a writer, says, I would never risk my reputation for the sake of some stupid statue. And Frank says, Sir, I'm a billionaire. I have enough money to buy this entire museum. Who is lying? Frank. He said he's a billionaire. Why would he wear a fake brand? Molly's kitten is missing. She's looking for her pet in the park and comes across these three strangers. One of them stole her kitten. Can you guess who? The first lady is just holding a bag with a toy cat. The second lady is pregnant. But the third guy is hiding a real kitten under his clothes. A weird incident happened at Mr. Green's hotel. All the fish disappeared from the aquarium. It's late, so Mr. Green suspects only 4 employees. Bobby, the porter, says, I spent the whole day carrying guest bags, so I simply didn't have time for any thefts. The cleaner, Amy, says, When I arrived at work, the aquarium was already empty. The waiter, Harry, says, I was working all day, so I didn't walk near the aquarium. Meanwhile, Mary, the manager, says, I don't like fish at all. I prefer dogs. After hearing their stories, Mr. Green knows for sure who stole the fish. What about you? Take a look at the puddle on the floor. Seems like Harry has recently gotten soaked, probably because he was trying to catch the fish from the aquarium. Oh no! Lauren checks into Mr. Green's hotel. In the lobby, she meets 3 porters who offer to take care of her luggage, but only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who? The first porter wears 2 watches, one on his left hand and one on his right. The left watch is too big, so it's probably stolen.
Really?
It's not safe to trust your luggage to a thief. And the third porter is a ghost. His feet don't touch the ground. Therefore, Lauren should trust the second guy. Me? I just get out of that hotel. Anyway, Lauren goes to the local nightclub. Kyle, Tom, and Nick invite her to dance. But only one of them is safe to dance with. What's your guess? Tom wears a leather jacket with sharp spikes.
Oh.
He can accidentally scratch Lauren while dancing. Take a look at Kyle's feet. It looks like he's about to turn into a werewolf.
Oh my god.
Lauren returns to the hotel and finds out that someone stole her favorite necklace from her room.
Oh god.
She runs to the lobby and faces 4 people: a manager, a janitor, a guest, and a porter. She asks, "Who stole my necklace?" But everyone swears to have nothing to do with the robbery. Can you help Lauren find the thief? It's the manager. She hid Lauren's necklace in her glass of water.
What?
The next morning, Lauren is having breakfast in the garden. Suddenly, somebody pulls a paint bucket prank on her. Take a look at the hotel guests. Can you figure out who did it? It was definitely the first guy. There are paint stains on his pants, and the color matches the prank paint perfectly. In the garden, Lauren finds something very curious. It's not alive, but it has 5 fingers. What is it? A glove. Mr. Green enters his office and finds a pleasant surprise on his desk. Someone brought a huge box of his favorite chocolates.
Yes.
Mr. Green questions his employees, but everyone swears to have nothing to do with the gift. The cleaning lady, Glenda, says, "Sir, I haven't entered your office room yet. I was too busy cleaning the bathrooms." The hostess, Holly, said, "I entered your room 2 hours ago to bring some documents. I didn't notice any chocolates." And the manager, Kara, said, "Wow, I had no idea you like chocolates. I started my shift 30 minutes ago and I didn't leave the lobby." Who's the secret admirer? Can you guess? According to Kara, she didn't enter Mr. Green's office, but she dropped one of her hairpins on the floor. Mr. Green invites Kara for lunch at the local buffet. There are 4 meals that they can enjoy: pizza, pasta, salad, and sushi. However, some of these meals are not safe. Can you figure out which ones? This pasta contains shoelaces, so it's not safe to eat. And there's a bee sitting on the sushi. It can sting, so this option isn't safe either. Lauren goes for a walk in the forest. Suddenly, she sees a weird cave with mysterious lights.
Oh my god.
She enters the cave and gets teleported to a parallel universe. Can you help her spot the difference between this reality and the normal world? This lady is wearing shoes on her hands. Well, that's weird. Lauren meets a wizard who promises to send her home. But first, she has to crack his riddle. Spelled forwards, I'm what you do every day. Spelled backward, I'm something you hate. What am I? If we spelled live backwards, we'll get evil. So the correct answer is live. Harry and Larry are twins. They were born in May, but their birthday is in June. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because May is a town. Gotcha.
Bella is planning a workshop for hairdressers. She needs a model with natural hair color. Bella gets messages from 3 candidates: Kelly, Shelly, and Sally. She looks through their social media and finds out that only one of these ladies didn't lie. Can you guess who has natural hair color? Kelly has gray roots, so she dyes her hair. Shelly has yellow blonde hair. It looks pretty natural, but it proves nothing. Meanwhile, Sally has red hair. And she has family pictures that show that her parents and siblings have the same hair color. So, Bella should choose Sally. The next day, Bella goes hiking with her friends, Jeff and Kim. They're hanging out on a high rock. Can you spot who's in danger? Bella is blindfolded and she's approaching a cliff break. Jeff is digging with a shovel, but there are electrical wires underneath. And Kim is just trying to feed a squirrel, but everyone is in danger. Bella can fall down, Jeff can get electrocuted, and the squirrel can bite Kim. Bella enters a cave to take some pictures, but suddenly an earthquake occurs. The exit is now blocked with stones. Bella looks around and finds 3 passages leading outside. There's a hungry wolf inside the first tunnel. The second passage is filled with toxic mushrooms. Just one bite can be fatal for any human. And inside the third tunnel, there's a water-filled tank with a shark. Which way is more or less safe? Bella should choose the second passage. The mushrooms are only dangerous when eaten. No one is forcing Bella to eat them. Bella is walking back home and sees a lonely dog on a playground. One of these guys is its owner. Can you guess who? The dog belongs to the second guy. He's skimming a newspaper to be able to look after his dog. Also, he's holding a collar that matches the dog's size. Meanwhile, another man is scrolling his feed on the phone and pays no attention at all. Bella arrives at work. She's been trying to open the door leading to her office, but it's locked. Someone changed the 4-number combination. Can you help her crack the passcode? There's the word hide written next to the door. If we replace each letter with its serial number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 8945. Bella opens the beauty salon, looks around, and spots 3 weird things about this place. Can you see them too? The mirror doesn't reflect reality. There's a spoon in this box of combs, and this unplugged hairdryer is working. Bella hears weird sounds from the street. She looks out the window and sees 2 women and 1 man arguing. One of the ladies is his wife. Can you guess who? The man and the lady in a yellow shirt have matching rings. Therefore, she's his wife. 3 clients arrive at the beauty salon and ask for old-fashioned hairstyles. Bella takes a look at them and spots a ghost right away. What about you? The first lady is dressed up as a ghost, but she's wearing jeans underneath her costume, so she's probably an actress. The third lady looks like an ordinary person with conservative tastes. But take a closer look at the second lady's feet. They don't touch the floor, so she's the ghost. Bella goes to the nearest store to buy some food for lunch. She sees 3 women in a line. Only one of them is a mother. Can you guess who? The first woman has a cart full of goods including diapers, but the size is big, so they're for elderly people. The third lady is buying fireworks, soda, and red cups. But it proves nothing. She's probably just going to throw a party. Meanwhile, the second lady has a stain on her dress and she looks pretty sleepy, so she's a mother. Bella moves on to the next store. There's a line with 3 customers, and one of them is a thief. Can you guess who? The third guy is wearing an oversized sweater, but he's innocent. Meanwhile, the second guy in a hoodie hid the stolen goods in his hood. The next morning, Bella wakes up in an abandoned house. A creepy voice says,
I'll set you free if you guess the password correctly.
"Can you help her escape?" Take a look at the letters on the wall. We can rearrange them into a dream house. Bella is meeting her best friend Kyle in a restaurant. He's about to introduce her to his future wife, Nellie. But Nellie has a twin sister, Kelly, who's also attending the dinner. Can you help Bella figure out which lady is Kyle's fiancée, Nellie? The twins look exactly the same, but Nellie has a heart-shaped necklace. Bella is watching the videos of her favorite travel bloggers. One of these guys is a millionaire, while the other one is broke. Can you guess who is who? The first guy is broke. He photoshopped himself into this picture on the beach. The palm trees have shadows directed to the left. Meanwhile, his own shadow is directed to the right. Why would a millionaire fake his vacation? Today, Bella's beauty salon celebrates its 5th birthday. She invited a lot of friends, including her boyfriend Tim. Before the event, she calls Bella, saying, "I'm at work, but I promised to be at the party at 9 o'clock." Tim comes over in 9 hours and 3 minutes. He brings pretty flowers and chocolates, but Bella bursts into tears because she's very mad. Why? Bella was expecting her boyfriend to arrive at 9 p.m., but he came at 9 a.m. the next morning. Two ladies show up at Bella's beauty salon. One of them is super rich. Can you guess who? The second lady is a bag designer. The first lady is wearing her brand. So, the second one must be really rich. Bella is attending Kyle's wedding. All of his friends show up looking rich and fabulous. Mike has a bunch of expensive gadgets. Chuck is wearing a brandy suit. And Lily is driving an exclusive sports car. But only one of them is really rich. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Chuck's suit. He didn't remove the price tag, so he's probably planning on returning it after the wedding. This fancy sports car doesn't belong to Lily. It's rented. Therefore, Mike is the richest person here. There are too many guests at the wedding for such a small cake. But Bella manages to grab a slice. She puts a plate with her cake on a table and leaves for 5 minutes to wash her hands. Then she comes back and sees an empty plate. Bella questions 3 guests. Alice says, "I've been dancing non-stop for the last 2 hours. I didn't eat anything." Chuck says, "It wasn't me who ate the cake. I'm on a sugar-free diet. But I guess it was Alice. I don't trust her." Lily says, "I didn't touch your cake. I was helping the bride braid her hair." Who's lying? Take a closer look at the bride's hairstyle. She doesn't have any braids. Therefore, Lily's story is fake. The wedding is going well, but at some point the bride notices that her diamond ring is missing. The robber manages to escape from the wedding, and he's hiding nearby. Can you spot him? He's over here. The next morning, Bella arrives at her beauty salon. Oh no! Someone stained the walls with paint. Bella finds 3 suspects and questions them. Molly replies, "I spent the last 3 days in another state at my parents' house. You can ask them if you don't believe me." Kelly says, "Yesterday I stayed here after closing to dye my hair. Sheila was helping me with my black roots. But then we left." And Sheila says, "Yesterday I was feeling sick and left earlier. The walls were fine." Who's lying? Kelly. She said she dyed her black roots, but they're still there.